Have you been asked to tip on lattes, on Ubers, on cosmetic procedures? It's called Tipflation, and it's been on the rise since the pandemic. You'll be at a coffee shop, and the employee swivels the iPad around, giving you a few options for tipping on the simple latte you just ordered. Sometimes a 20% tip is automatically selected on the screen. You're not at a sit-down restaurant, you're at a pickup counter. If you hit no tip, you feel like a terrible person, or worse, you're worried that the barista thinks you're a terrible person.
Come on, throw in a buck.
I don't tip.
Across America, service industries are encouraging customers to reward basic tasks. As David Harsanyi wrote for National Review, these days, the Overton window has a tip jar in front of it. You're not the only one who feels like this.
A new survey data finding that 30% of Americans think that tipping culture is out of control. I think I'm going to add myself to that list.
Tipping used to be an optional expression of gratitude for either a job well done or a very difficult job. If a bellhop lugs your giant suitcases up 8 flights of stairs to your hotel room, tipping is justified. It's already customary to tip on customized services, your nail technician, your hairdresser, your waiter. Of course, this lightens the load for those companies' payroll by shifting the burden to the buyer.
This is a list of people I'm not tipping in 2024, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm not tipping at the drive-thru, I'm not tipping for Froyo, I'm not tipping for Auntie Anne's, yes, they ask for tips there now, and I'm not tipping on to-go orders. And I know the hostesses have such a huge problem, it's my opinion, and yes, I have been a hostess and a server in a past life.
I've been a waiter too. I totally get the grind they have to go through to make money. It's a thankless job, but now there's an explosion of guilt tipping for things like checking your code at the door or ringing up your ice cream at the cash register.
I went to this local little, it's like a burger and fry place, kind of like the local version of McDonald's. So like chicken tenders and fries, right? I get up to the pay window and she's like, how much do you want to tip? And I'm just like, what? And she's like, yeah, did you want to leave a tip? And she's like pointing to them. And I was like, oh no, not today. And then I just felt really uncomfortable. But like, homegirl, what am I gonna tip you for? I'm in the drive-thru. Oh my God.
Sure, it's a weird economy and many people are struggling financially with high cost of living and inflation. I understand that workers are hoping to earn as much as they can. But I don't know about you, I would rather that businesses raise their prices to cover the real cost of labor than make me responsible for making sure the fast food worker can pay their rent this month. There's also a higher standard of tipping now. For example, my friend in New York City was chased down the street by her taxi driver for not tipping enough on her already very expensive trip from the airport. You may have noticed that the tipping lower bounds have increased so that you may not even be prompted to do 10 or 15%. Now it's 20%, then 25%, and so on.
Thank you so much for your purchase. I'm just gonna spin this iPad around. Sure. No pressure. I would just pick something over here. Did you really only pick 75%? I have a family. Guys, this piece of disrespecting garbage only picked a 75% tip. Oh my God, Emma Nation, this just only tipped 75%. You monster! Why I ought to lock you up. Wow. Hold on, I can change it.
This new demand that we tip on all sorts of low-effort activities is eroding meritocracy and diluting what a service actually is. There's been cases of people being asked to tip on medical-adjacent services like Botox and other plastic surgery. This is unethical and a dangerous slippery slope.
I was just at Starbucks picking up a coffee in the drive-thru. If I have to tip for this, what's next? Yeah, nurse, looks like we got him back. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. Hey, before we hook you up to the ventilator, it's just gonna ask you a quick question.
There are services that don't deserve a tip, and there are services that should never be opened up to tipping.
Are you okay?
Yeah, thank you.
So I was just gonna ask you a quick question right there.
You shouldn't fear that your laser hair removal will be botched on your next visit because you didn't tip well enough the last time. Handing over a McDonald's bag at the drive-thru does not constitute a service, and you should not feel compelled to put cash in the tip jar for that. Tipping was actually imported to the US from Europe in the mid-1800s. America used to reject tipping outright as something corrosive to work ethic, an assault on Republican virtue, and beneath the dignity of the American worker, Harsanyi writes. How far we've fallen from this to being asked to tip on a self-checkout machine. If you like this video, I think you're also gonna like this video about what TikTok has done to your kids.